Now for third-party characters. There's a couple of different rules here that I mentioned earlier, but we'll go over them quickly now. For one, he's not going to open the floodgates for anyone and everyone. Both companies have to want the character in, and the character must carry game history. This last one isn't a rule, but it's still something to keep in mind. Sakurai sees Smash Bros. As a celebration for Japanese games, so he's probably going to be a bit more biased towards Japanese-made characters, although I think as long as they have worldwide appeal, they should be fine. We can't really tell how strict he is on characters made outside Japan, because all of the third-party characters he's chosen so far are popular everywhere. There are a ton of third-party characters that people are talking about, so let's run through this list company by company in no specific order, and I'll give pros and cons for each character. Sega! People are asking for basically any other Sonic character, but there's a lot more highly requested characters than that, and ones that will actually attract a different audience than just adding more Sonic characters. Some people would say they could just clone Shadow from Sonic, but like I said before, I think Sakurai treats these characters from other companies with more respect than that, so I don't think he's gonna half-ass them. Activision! Crash Bandicoot. He's an iconic mascot and has appeared on multiple Nintendo consoles, and he also has a Switch port of the trilogy coming, although that was probably announced too late, but he's appeared on multiple consoles anyway, so it kinda doesn't matter. The only thing is I don't know how much Japanese appeal he has. And when you mention Crash, you basically have to bring up Spyro too, and you can just copy and paste my last statement. Although if any character is getting in from Activision, it's gonna be Crash, and if Crash is already getting in, I don't see you getting Crash and Spyro. That's a bit much. I don't care how much that clearly fake leaker is talking about, you're not getting both of them in the game. There's way too many gaming legends that would be way more popular than Spyro. Square-Enix! Chocobo or Black Mage. They're both iconic mascots for the series, but I don't think Sakurai's gonna double dip on any series, even if that is Final Fantasy. Dragon Quest Hero or Slime. They are more popular in Japan than globally, but the series is huge and any sort of rep seems more like a matter of if than when. Geno. Sakurai wants him in, fans want him in, but to be honest, Square Enix probably wants another bigger character to promote an actual game. I think he has a 50-50 shot of appearing in the base game or as DLC. You could say he would appear in the base game because he's not big enough for people to justify paying as DLC, or he could be DLC because Square Enix doesn't know if they'll get another character as DLC, so their base game choice might be something else. Then again, his Mii costume was DLC. Chrono. I actually kind of forgot about him. Maybe that says something, but I haven't really seen him high on any polls, so... Lara Croft. She's iconic, has a long library of games, and one of the few games to get a movie that doesn't suck, but I don't think she has Japanese appeal, and a costume for Lightning won't cut it, if you can call mud a costume. Sora. Has a history with Nintendo, recognizable, and easily the most voted Square Enix character after Cloud, but Disney technically owns Sora, and good luck sorting through that paperwork. It would be a huge get, if possible, albeit without the Disney characters, and kinda funny since Kingdom Hearts 3 has a Game & Watch parody minigame, but third-party characters are already a lot of work, and this would just make it even worse. The series is also only 16 years old, and Sakurai might want to prioritize characters from the early days of gaming, but that's just subjective. I don't think it's impossible. Square Enix has worked with Nintendo and could convince Disney that Nintendo is trustworthy and the effect Smash Bros. Has, but they might be hesitant after the whole Battlefront 2 fiasco with EA, so they might not want to partner with other people for now. He ticks the right boxes, but he carries a lot of baggage with him. Capcom! X or Zero. They're iconic and all that, but technically still part of the Mega Man series, and I don't think they would double dip on the same franchise. Amaterasu. Not huge and a dead franchise, at least for the time being. After Bayonetta 3, get on that, Kamiya! Monster Hunter. They have history with Nintendo, are really popular, and a variety of weapon types, but there's no real main character, and I know what you're gonna say, Fire Emblem, but Nintendo owns that, so they can kinda give it a pass. Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, Leon S. Kennedy, insert any other Resident Evil character here. They're a big series and have history with Nintendo and all that, but I think there's characters that fit Smash better. How'd they play? Just Snake but with a different model because they all have guns and RPGs and all that? I don't know. Feels off. Konami. Simon Belmont. He's iconic and has a history with Nintendo, and he has a whip which is unique, and no, Zero Suit Samus's doesn't really work the same. Some will probably say the franchise is dead somehow, but at the time of developing Smash 4, Mega Man was also gone for 4 years, so that doesn't really matter. Their legacy lives long past a couple of years. Plus, Konami doesn't mind licensing their properties. There is a mobile game coming out. Ugh. But they are talking about bringing games to Switch, and potentially Castlevania, but this is all too late for Smash Brothers. I just felt like bringing it up for people to get hopeful of the franchise. Bomberman. He's iconic, has history with Nintendo, and was recently brought back on the Switch. Bethesda. Doom Guy. He has history with Nintendo, but not much personality, and he probably has zero Japanese appeal. Dovahkiin / Dragonborn. Recognizable and got a Switch port, but zero personality and other characters are more iconic. I don't care how many versions of Skyrim there are, you can't have Dovahkiin in everything, Todd Howard. Level 5. Professor Layton. Recognizable series and history with Nintendo, but honestly he seems kind of unsuitable for battle. Yokai Watch. Huge in Japan, but really no Western appeal, and we've missed out on some of the games. That doesn't really help. Koel Tecmo. Ryu Hayabusa. Both the games and the publisher have a history with Nintendo, and more recently Hyrule and Fire Emblem Warriors. He's the original gaming ninja, and even though we do have 2 ninjas already, Greninja and Sheik, that didn't stop Cloud from being the umpteenth sword fighter, so I don't think that really matters. I'm more concerned with if people actually care about him as a character. Grasshopper. Travis Touchdown. He has history with Nintendo, has personality, is getting an exclusive game on Switch, has a global appeal, is friends with Sakurai like Kojima with Snake, but he may not be big enough to add, then again Bayonetta. And with the way Suda talks, asking fans to let Sakurai know they want him in, it sounds like he's not in the base game. This probably wasn't an intended category, but he could be the new adult character for DLC a la Snake and Bayonetta. Bandai Namco. Solaire. The remaster likely didn't start until after our project plan was made. He doesn't really have personality, he's just kind of a knight. And I don't care how much you praise the sun, you ain't getting in that base game. Agumon. Recognizable, but hasn't really been big in the West for quite some time. Has an on and off history with Nintendo, and despite him having tons of video games, it technically started as a virtual pet and might not count as a video game franchise to Sakurai. Goku. Not a video game character. Sakurai literally stated, manga characters will not join the battle, obviously. Give it up already, he has no chance. What are you laughing about? You're not getting Shrek either. Or SpongeBob. Nightmare. He's the main villain for the series, but I don't really know how big in popularity he actually is. There's probably a bajillion other sword fighters you could use anyway. Lloyd Irving. He's long past irrelevant and not big enough to overcome it now. At least Cloud pops up every now and again. Klonoa. Died on the PS1, or Wii I guess. Even the Duck Hunt dog is more recognizable, and that was from one game. I'm sorry, Artsy Omni. Then again, I want Vaddie, and that sure's crap ain't happening, so we all got one character that won't have a chance. Heihachi. He's iconic. Personally, I don't really know what makes him unique, but that's not really a point against him because I don't know what I'm talking about there. Sakurai did try to make him, but said it was difficult and ultimately didn't go for him. He also said that there weren't really any other Namco Bandai characters to add, so the last couple of characters you can throw out, but I still wanted to go through them individually. Midway. Scorpion. He is iconic and kickstarted the ESRB due to its violence, so he is rooted in video game history, but Mortal Kombat hasn't seen a game in Japan for 20 years. As far as his violence goes, his spear is no more violent than Link's hookshot, you just don't stab it right through their chest, and Snake puts people in a chokehold for crying out loud, so tone down the blood and maybe no demons and he should be fine. Microsoft. Banjo-Kazooie. They're a big fan-requested character and perfect for DLC, but not Japanese, and the way Phil Spencer talks gives off the vibe that they haven't had contact, so I don't see them happening in the base game. Steve from Minecraft. He's a gaming icon regardless of how ugly he is, and one of the best-selling video game franchises and just best-selling games in history. Sakurai has played the game before, so that helps. He's not Japanese, but he did sell pretty well over there. Master Chief. I don't know if anyone's taken this seriously, but whatever, it's the only other Microsoft character, might as well chuck that one in there. He's iconic, but obviously has zero ties to Nintendo, minus that cancelled Halo DS game. And it's probably a step too far because he's the Xbox mascot. Ubisoft! Rabbids. Mario plus Rabbids released way too late, and while they're recognizable, I think Sakurai would choose a character with more clout. Plus, I think he would choose a character that's a specific character and not a species for a third-party character. Rayman. He is unique being a limbless character, has personality and recognizable, but probably not as much as the other cartoony mascots. Plus, the series has kind of been slowed down and pushed aside for the Rabbids for the most part, and he's more likely to get in as a fan vote than actual base game. If he does get in, you can thank Artsy Omni for giving him more attention and drumming up hype, so maybe it will get one character, Omni. Indies! Indies. They could really only get in as a fan vote for not having a legacy, and even still it would be an uphill battle because they'd have to be immensely popular and successful. Sorry, but Shantae is relatively niche. Shovel Knight, on the other hand, has not only sold 2 million copies, but has cameoed in so many games and appeared in so much merchandise, you likely know of him and probably annoyed with him by now. And with most of the sales being on Nintendo platforms, it'll appeal to that audience too, compared to other indies, not necessarily Shantae. And even as a fan-voted character, I don't think Shovel Knight or really any other indie is all that likely. Even Commander Video only got a trophy, and I think that's about as much as you're gonna get from any indie character. Out of my entire list, these are the ones I think are the top third-party contenders for the base game. Hero!
Simon Belmont.
Monster Hunter! Sora! Gino! Bomberman! Ryu Hayabusa! Steve! Those are my thoughts on the most common third-party characters people are talking about. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you like this video, it's part of a longer video on the entire roster you can check out here. As always, thanks for watching.